With me today, I got Gal Motseme. Am I pronouncing that right?
Yes.
Fab. Thanks for coming on the show. Can you tell people a little bit about yourself, please?
And thanks for having me. Before I can jump in on me, I love to start this with extending my greetings to your audience as well. So dumelang, lokai, and that's just greetings in my native language. I come from Botswana in Southern Africa, and when I say dumelang, direct translation of dumelang is agree. Lokai is kind of like locate yourself. So where are you? So since we're connecting here for the first time, and we are here at They're Not Like Us, you tuned in. What is it that you're agreeing to every time when you're showing up on this show? What is your intention? That's where I want to start. And where are you? Are you here fully with us, or part of you is still holding into they should have, shouldn't have, could have, couldn't have, and all that? Yeah, so with that invite, I'm just inviting you to be present with us. And when I say locate yourself, why that is important is, can you come back into your body? That is, pull your awareness from anything and everything, whatever that you're doing, whatever that you're worried about, and just choose to commit to you fully. And another thing is, there is a lot of information, and I know there have been amazing experts on this show, and you know a lot. But since we are meeting for the first time, may we choose not to know. And that's what I'm doing as well. I do not know anything, so that I can allow whatever that is needed on this show in this now moment to come through. So, with that said, how much I miss my name, I'm helping people to break free from generational trauma, generational relationship, toxic imprints, and patterns, so that they can connect to that true, authentic self and attract the love that honors that true value.
Gary, you said some really important things there about being present in the moment, essentially, and how important that is in our lives. Because a lot of us do hold on to things from the past. We hold on to ideas of what the future is going to be or what we want the future to be, and we often struggle to live in the present. How do you help people with that?
That's a good question because it goes to the heart of my work. This is why I'm inviting people to come back into the body. And how I help people is by bringing them back into the body. So how do I do that? Like I said, I'm a human MRI, psychic surgeon, freedom illuminator. So that comes with the body. I work a lot with the body. So when we're having a conversation with somebody, the body often speaks so loud, our energy speaks so loud, the body speaks so loud that I can't hear what somebody is saying. So I get to go to whatever that is causing that whatever that they're saying to match with that energy. So when I connect with people, it's kind of like I'm scanning the body to see what is happening. So if there is pain, you can imagine if there is pain in the body, as much as you're speaking, but you at the same time your attention is on the pain, right? And at times your attention is on the emotional imprints, whatever that has been suppressed, and you are not aware of it. You're trying to push from the mind, but yet there is something that is pulling you back. All those things that you are tethered to. So I connect to the body to see what is it that needs the most attention. At times it's physical pain, at times it's mental pain, at times it's emotional pain. So at times it's like energetic, whatever that is like in the other bodies, because it's not only the physical body that is here. So I connect to all those things and see what is happening. It's kind of like tracing what is happening when I connect, and then there is pain in the heart. Where does this originate from? you know and then the body will guide me to where it comes from. If it all is ancestral, we're gonna go there. If it all is something that happened in childhood, we're just gonna go there. And when I release that, it's kind of like bringing people in the body. And at times, people, when they say, I've done a lot of work and I've not been getting any help, is because they're trying to do a lot of work while they're not in the body. So it's kind of like I'm stepping in that auric fields, to be honest with you, and I get to know what is happening and what is not happening. That's how it makes it easy and effective for me to bring them back into the body so that they can be here. Because as much as I can say, be present, it's kind of like now it's a habit, it's a pattern that your body has formed of worrying about something, of being somewhere, or a trauma happened and you disconnected, you lost some parts of yourself. So they are still there, they're still stuck wherever that the trauma happened, and you are trying to be here, but you are not your whole self. So I help them by bringing this aspect back and having that wholeness from within. I don't know how to, if that explains it best, because it's kind of like more energetic metaphysical stuff that the mind or ego cannot fully grasp, but it can experience. I always say not everything can be explained, but it can be experienced.
Yeah, I think trauma especially has a massive impact on us. Especially if it's in our childhood, and we might not even realize that we're behaving in particular ways, or that we're reacting in particular ways because of that trauma. Because as a child, we kind of learn to adapt to whatever the trauma is, and we kind of mold ourselves to whatever's kind of easiest or whatever's safest, whatever's going to get us through. And them coping mechanisms, while they can be great as a child, as we become an adult, they can actually be really detrimental to our happiness, to our health, to our relationships.
Yeah, I love what you said, because this is the thing. At times when you like at times we think like trauma is like something big, and it could be that, or it could be like something so small. And if it's normal, you don't even realize that. Like trauma, I don't even know what you're talking about, because for you it's like that was normal, you know. And I know, because at times when I'm speaking to people and I'll be sharing maybe some things that happen, how I was beaten as a child, or at times when I tried to run away, they'll just let me be, and then I sleep, and then I wake up with this being bitten. So now at my older age, I'm like, what the fuck was that? How angry can someone be to sleep holding a grudge and still pull the blankets on a little child sleeping, and just to beat the child up? So when I'm talking about things like this, there are people who are like, but we all went through that. It's kind of like, what the fuck are you talking about? Just shut up and stop whining. Like, I'm like, for you, of course it was normal because it was done to all of us, but at the same time it hurt me. It for me, it's a wound in there. And now looking at a lot of things, like we soul travel, whether you are aware of it, when you're talking about dreams and all that. And for me, I do a lot of work, a lot of work in my dreams. So now you can imagine how traumatic even it is for the soul, that you are not fully here, and the next thing you wake up being beaten and all that. It's kind of like, that's fucked up. But not everyone agrees, because for them it's kind of like it was done to all of us, so it's fine. So shut up. So at times it's just like that, where something is normal, and at times it cannot be that. It can just be the absence of the parent, where you feel abandoned or rejected. It's quite interesting, because I'm working with the mother, but then when she mentioned her daughter's name, there's just a lot of things that came through. So I was like, oh, there's a lot of pain in this child. So I offered to help the child, and there was a lot that was going on, negative attachment, pain, because she's taking all that is happening from her parents. At times the parents can be arguing and trying to keep that away from the child, like, we're just gonna argue in the room or whatever, but she feels the energy, even though you can come through and say hi, with all the smile. The child never sees the actual argument happening, but the energy is alive, is present. She's peeking into that causes trauma on its own. And also one other thing that I've been emphasizing lately is just that as parents, it's not even about just us. It's also we have got a responsibility to be that spiritual guardian for our children. So it's not about providing just physically and all that. It's us physically being present, emotionally, mentally, and also spiritually, which often people take for granted. It's kind of like, I'm giving you the food and the house. What do you want? They don't realize that they're opening doors to lower vibrations with where they're at, or whatever that they're dealing with. So it's bigger than just like physical or whatever that we think it is.
Yeah, and kids especially, probably more so than adults, really pick up on that energy, don't they? They kind of they have that almost like a sixth sense about what's going on around them, and they can tell when somebody's not right or something's not right. And I suppose that's part of being a child. It's important that they know when stuff's not right to keep themselves safe. I suppose that's probably an evolution thing, I imagine.
Yeah, and on the other hand, like as a child, children have not fully learned to shut down from who they are, and just imagine a little baby who's coming, like just a little bit baby who's just born. they they don't speak. And this is the whole thing, that it's not about the words that we're saying, it's about the energy. They don't speak, but they are aware, like for instance, of the aura and stuff. That's our language. So they come to learn, which is like being conditioned that, oh, words are more important, or even they're not important for you because you are a child, you cannot be heard. Whatever that is whatever that is at play. But for them, the best thing that they know and they're born with is that sixth sense. It's just natural for them. They have not fully disconnected from it. So even when people are speaking and all that, what they understand more is the energy, and then eventually they use the sense not just to understand, but to more for survival, because it's kind of like it's not safe here. So it's and this is I love that, because when you're talking about intuition and all these gifts, it's kind of like, oh, I'm gifted and all that. But when you look at it on the other hand, of course, it's a gift that we are born with, and it's natural for us. But we developed it because it was not safe where we at. It was a survival mechanism that we only can rely on. Wherever you are, maybe you're supposed to go home, and like something doesn't feel right, kind of like, I'm going to spend time here, because you're trying to avoid this energy that is not right. Or you get home and you just check first thing, you just connect into your body and just checking what is happening. And when you're speaking to someone, should I be open, should I be into this person, or just keep my distance for me to be safe? And you just go to your room or go in a corner where you can be safe. So it's both. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's difficult for children because they have that less kind of control over the situation. They're very much at the whim of the people around them, and they need to, and that's probably why we do it, why we kind of adapt and have these coping mechanisms that we bring in. And it can be different, can it can be stuff like, if you're not getting enough attention, they'll kind of act out a little bit to try and get some attention, or they'll do something that kind of draws attention. But all them coping mechanisms are born out of safety, because they need the adults around them and the people who care for them to provide them with that emotional, psychological, and physical safety. Um and, and they have to adjust to that, and they do so well, don't they, the children? But that the long-term effects of that is what we worry about.
Yeah. And I love that, because when you look at it at the same time, like for instance, when you say the most important thing as a child is safety. You want to survive. For you, and whatever that you want, you have to find a way to get it. That is, if they're feeling into that and they feel all this baggage, this heaviness on their parents' energy, what do? They trade their life force energy with their parents. Kind of like, I'm gonna give you my energy. It's kind of like their parents are feeding off them, and they're taking their parents' stuff. They're doing it because it's kind of like, maybe if I take some of your baggage, then you'll feel lighter. You'll be able to be there for me. And this creates that emotional, that codependency, all those parents. And then as adults, you move in with relationships where, whether it's a narcissist or whoever that you come across, but you still operating from, I'm gonna take your stuff. Maybe when I take your stuff, you're gonna love me, and you take all this thing, because now this empath is like huge. You taking all of it, but the shit part of it is, you can't transmute what is not yours. Even if it's your parents, you can't do anything with some things that are not yours. So it's kind of like, this just the baggage that is taking space, that you're supposed to be bringing in whatever that you desire. So it still works against us until you release that, send it back to source, and now know who you are. Because even knowing who you are, how can you know who you are if you are carrying all these people's energy in your system, right?
Yeah, and if you're always adjusting to please other people, or to find a way that other people can be around you, you you you're changing yourself from who you actually are to just trying to fit and appease them other people, which is really not good for you.
Yeah. It's I mean, we do that a lot, because there is like the human thing is kind of like, we want to belong. And when you look at it, just going back to many generations, you couldn't survive if at all you are not part of the tribe. Whether you were ostracized or something like that, you died. And it's just the same thing as a child, that without touch and all that, a child can't survive. So we also need that connection. So one or the other, we just disconnect from ourselves and be whatever that the environment asks us to be, until you realize that still it's more painful. Because often people will be like, oh, like you don't trust people around you, you feel people around you are fake and all that. And the only person that is responsible for that is the person in the mirror. Because if you are not authentic, if you are not being yourself, why do you expect to attract people who are authentic and they are themselves? It's not going to happen, because you're going to attract at your level. So you're going to be a bunch of people who are not being themselves and also judging each other, because because that is coming from you, and you project it to other people until you let go of the wound. Actually, this is the thing when I'm saying let go of the wound, is that if you're not yourself, obviously there's a reason why you choosing to be that, because you want to be accepted, you want to be loved. The wound is more louder than what you actually desire. So whatever that you create, you are creating from that wound, until you look at that wound, love it, and bring in whatever that you need. Otherwise, you can't take your wound, like force other people to love you. This is where the people be like, I just hope I can find somebody who loves me as I am. The question is, do you love yourself as you are? If you feel disrespected, do you respect yourself? And respecting yourself is big, isn't like, do you respect yourself enough to speak your authentic truth? And when I'm talking about speaking your truth, people often rush to say, yeah, I'll tell them off and all that. No, it's not about telling anyone off, because when you do that, you are either reacting or responding to what is thrown at you. What is it that is coming from the core of your being that your soul desire to express through you? You may be a well-spoken person, like you're always speaking and all that. I was that, by the way. I thought I always spoke my mind and all that. Actually, I was speaking my mind, but not my heart and soul. So I spoke and responded and reacted and with all the anger and stuff. But when I realized that my throat was blocked, I was like, what the heck? What the heck have I been doing all along? Because I was far from speaking my truth. And when it came to my truth, which is like speaking about all these things, speaking about spirituality, embodying my gift, which is often shunned upon, because when you're talking about what I do, people be like, you are weird. And I kind of like ran away from it because I didn't want to be weird. And often people are hiding from this, who they truly are and the magic that is coming within them. That's your truth. So if you're not embodying that and you're just responding or reacting to what other people are doing, then you are not being your true self. You're not living your truth. You are not committing to yourself. And that's the magic right there when you are. Because here's the thing, the challenge with that is when you embody who you are, for sure you're gonna lose some people. But you gotta be comfortable with that. If at all you have the anchor within you trust who you are, you love yourself enough to remove yourself from people who do not accept all of you. Because what's the point of being with people, yet you have to always question your worth? You have to run around your mind saying a lot of things. Should I have said that or not? Am I gonna have said them or what? You are not free. And my thing is, the level that you are not fully free is the level that you are not fully joyful, and that is the level that you are not fully loving. So stop fucking fooling us and telling us you are loving. You are not loving if you can't be free and be coming from that joy.
Absolutely. And I was guilty of it. I lived with a mask on for a long time, we trying to fit in and trying to please everybody and stay in that kind of
Ooh.
place. But and I did for a long, long time. And it's probably only recently, really, the probably last 6 months, maybe 12 months, but I think probably more six. Um, Before I was able to just be happy with who I am and accept me for me, and then start living that way. Because the only people you lose when you start being true to yourself and start living your own way are the wrong people. Are the people who are not good for you, really, not good for your soul, not good for your happiness. So it's
Ooh.
powerful. It's powerful when you actually find yourself and accept yourself, and you know like you say, you have to accept your own wounds, and accept your vulnerabilities, and don't be afraid to share them with people, because the right people will
Mhm.
support you, will look after you, and will be there for you.
I just love that because that's the truth. And being your authentic self, like I said, is not it's a frequency. It gets to filter who gets to be here or who doesn't have to be here. And the good thing with that is you don't have to go through the whole, I would say, labor work of trying to, oh, I'm gonna put whatever boundaries. I mean, I love boundaries, don't get me wrong, but it's better to have standards, because when you have standards, it's you don't even have to go to the boundary part, because you have standards and you are showing up honoring your standards. And anyone who doesn't fit into that, they have to leave your space. And for me, that is somebody who is moving with confidence and that conviction, because you know that no matter what, another door is gonna open. The next person is coming through, the right person for that matter. So why should you be looking at this? And here's the thing that is also kind of like tricky. Sometimes it can be a challenge with the family. They'll say blood is thicker than water. I agree, but on the other hand, when we look at it at a soul level, sometimes we come together to learn bigger lessons, and your family may not always approve of your soul mission. They may still be stuck in whatever the foundation is, whatever whether it's a separation consciousness, whether it's scarcity, poverty consciousness, or victim consciousness. And if they're stuck in there, this is a big one, because what I find is that at times, when it comes to your evolution, to your growth, to your success, sometimes people will be like, you want to go, but your hands are here. You want everybody to come with you. And they're stuck and say, no, we don't want to go there. And the vowels are pulling you back. Like, I can't, but it's a battle. It's harder. Why? Because you are still tethered and connected through these vows that you made of we're gonna struggle together. The us. And I love they not like us, because at times the us, it's us and them. And what is it that you're looking at here? Is the us for your highest and greatest good? Does it make your soul sing? Does it turn you on? Do you feel pulled by something? Because if it's draining life out of you, probably the us that you are connecting to is not really where you're meant to. Maybe there's some things that you are meant to break away from, so that you can guide them, because at times when you lead by being you, that is, you're going to model whatever that they need to say. There is another way of being, but you're not going to look for permission, because at times we want to get permission first. So family, yeah, but it's not always. And here's the thing: when I'm talking about family, on the other hand, I'm not saying just because they have been the way they have been, now it's kind of like, oh, I'm gonna sort of like the whole thing of like, I'm just gonna cut cords and all that. At times we rush into cut cords before we neutralize whatever that resonate with us from those people, because we are one. And another thing, you can still love people, but it doesn't mean that you have to always be with them. This also extends to relationships. We can meet in a relationship, lovers, married, whatever that is, and everything is good. And then after some time, it's not working anymore, because whatever files that you meant to share, you shared. Not every relationship is meant to last forever. I know that it goes against lots of communities and a lot of um, marriage vows and all that, but the truth of it is, our soul is here to grow, to evolve, and not every relationship is meant to last forever. And at times we outgrow even our family. We still love them, but we get to choose, where do we engage and where do we kind of like love from far.
Yeah, that's quite powerful actually, and I agree with it. Um, with family and stuff, it's important to we can still love people and be there for people in moments, but we don't have to get their blessing or support for everything that we do. And but something that's helped me is I have developed, or I'm still working on it really, I think, but I've kind of developed a what I call a with or without you attitude. So I'm going to do what I'm going to do. If you want to come along, that's brilliant. If you don't, that's fine. I'm going to do it anyway. So that's kind of my attitude that I've kind of developed. Um, and I think as people we grow, and sometimes with the relationships, some people will stay behind as you grow, and then unfortunately that kind of things kind of break away. So sometimes it's beautiful and you grow together, and
Yeah.
you're able to do that, and those relationships are fantastic when you're able to do that. And sometimes you grow apart, grow in different directions. So it's just part of life, really, and it's something that we need to be aware of. And it's not necessarily always a bad thing. And as long as we do the things that we're trying to do from a place of love and from um, kindness, really, then I don't think it's any problem.
I just love that, and there's a lot of things that are just popping up, because, like you said, doing it from the place of kindness, love, and also respect. Because I'm one person who, yeah, I had that, I'm on the spiritual path, and like spirituality is a big part of my purpose. And because I uphold this, and yeah, it's kind of like I felt this is the only way. And when I held that, like, this is the only way, and wanted everybody to kind of like connect at that level, I disrespected that path. And that's huge, because I'm speaking about maybe someone who is in the alcohol addiction, someone who is in drug addiction, someone in whatever that is. Of course, I see the pain that they go through and all that, and especially if somehow we are connected, because I've been someone who was more good at attracting people with alcohol addiction, and I did that so well. I wanted to rescue them, yet I thought I loved them. This is what I'm saying. At times you get to learn the difference when you coming through because you want to rescue somebody. That's still not love, because there is the underlying thing that, okay, after I've rescued them, then maybe they're gonna love me, you know. So it's also disrespecting their God selves. And when I look at it, just sharing a little bit of my story, the core wound was me looking for my father in the man that I dated, the man that I married, right? And it's quite interesting, because after some time, going through divorce and all that, and a part of me still wanted that to work. It's kind of like my prayer was, I just hope this man can wake up to his truth, like spiritual awakening, so that he can realize what life really is, so that he can really see who he is beyond the pain and the whole alcohol addiction. That was my prayer. That's what I was holding into. But in one meditation, what came through was, what part of you has a problem with his drinking? So my ego was like, what are you talking about? Because, yeah, drinking does this and all that and all that. But while I was still trying to reason, I just got this download of the real truth. Why I'm attracting these people? You know, I had to deal with my own father issues, you know. And on the other hand, that's when, like, it's kind of like I got this download of everything, and I realized that I was sort of judging this man and feeling like he doesn't accept me in my path, and hoping that he could accept me and see more, and come into my journey and follow me, and come into this whole liberation. But what I didn't realize is I was judging him. I was not respecting where he was. Because when we're talking about true love is honoring somebody's path. It doesn't matter, however bad it is, whatever that is happening, when we honor, we respect, and we allow them to experience whatever that they're going to experience. Because on the other hand, we do not know what their soul chose to experience. If at all they're meant to go that path and experience that rock bottom, that's when they're going to wake up, or maybe something that they are called to experience in another lifetime. Who am I to get in the way of that? So love is truly loving them to release them to their divinity and working on ourselves, because here the wound was, I'm the one who had a problem with that, because it was not in alignment with my soul path.
Yeah, I think for me, that love is giving them the space to be who they need to be, and but also being there for them if they need you and when they need you, kind of thing. Whereas if we try to drag people down the direction we wanted to go, then we're ultimately gonna force people into being somebody they're not, or pretending, putting a mask on to please us, when actually, they're not actually there yet, and they're still struggling with whatever issues that they're struggling with.
Yeah, and it's also, it causes resentment with time. Imagine like someone is pushing something on you, but you first thing, do they even have the capacity to receive all that you're giving them? This is why at times people will be like, oh, the problem is that I love too much and all that, because you are trying to love someone who does not have the capacity. They love you at the best of their capacity. Whatever that you want, more of whatever that you want, they don't have it. Where the hell do you expect them to get it from if they don't even have it from for themselves? You understand? So it's bigger, but it all comes back to us. Where am I coming from? What is it that I'm expecting of others? Can I give myself that? Ooh. I'm having this memory of the other time I was having kind of like it was an argument. Basically, there was a problem, and we went to this couples counseling, whatever, and I mean, I knew what I knew, but on the other hand, if at all somebody does not believe in what you believe in, and it's kind of like, let's go do therapy, whatever. I'm open to everything. It's kind of like, whatever that is. So I showed up. And by then we had a difference that there was a time when I was in the hospital and my partner did not come to visit me. And for him, like for me, it's something that was like a wound. It's a lot of things were just happening, and I realized that I can't rely on this person. If at all, in the time when I really need him, he couldn't be there for me. So something big, there was a big dent that happened in that partnership. So we went to the counselor or therapist, and then we just talking about this, and it was kind of like something being said about all this. Oh, like he didn't understand, he didn't want to take responsibility. It's kind of like, I didn't know that I have to be there when you're at the hospital. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? So I can't remember what the therapist was saying, but it's kind of like, oh, the problem is there is empathy that is missing in this relationship and all that. And while I was sitting there, I just realized that, oh shit. And I say to the therapist, oh, um I won't have any expectations from my partner anymore. And then it's like, what kind of relationship is that if at all you don't have any expectations? But for me, at that moment, I just got this download that really what helped me, the reason why I'm still holding into that and being hurt is because I had expectations. I'm hurt by my own expectations. So when I released that to say, whew. And I mean, it's good to have expectations, but at times when you come to it, it's kind of like you putting expectations on someone who does not even have the capacity to deal with that. It's someone where when something is happening, it's kind of like their nervous system really breaks down. And the only thing that they can do is like go to the bottle or something like that. But yet I'm still holding these expectations for him to meet. That is too much. So I had a choice to continue in that partnership, but knowing that he may never show up at the level that I wanted him to. So if at all I'm willing to continue with that, cool, let it be. Or I can step out, because on the other hand, for me, when you're talking about a relationship, partnership, marriage, whatever that you call it, it's all about support and growth for each other. But if at all the other person has arrived, because at times when you're like dreaming, like, oh, this is how I see us, and somebody's like, I'm just okay with what I have. Like, really? But I feel like there's a lot of gaps here that needs to be worked on. Somebody has arrived. And the question is, are you willing to arrive as well, or you still have bigger dreams? Because if you put in those expectations of bigger dreams with someone who is okay with mediocre, then you're gonna disappoint yourself.
Yeah, and I think we do that a lot. We have our own expectations of what we expect of other people, in relationships, in work, wherever it may be, and I think that does tend to hurt us because, we kind of have this expectation that people will do what we would do in that situation. We think, oh, that's what I would do in that situation, so I expect that person to do it. But like I said, that's not appreciating that they're on a different journey, and maybe even if they're on a very similar path, they might be on a different part of that path, and they might not be there yet.
And it's a big one for people because it's I mean, we are used to always shifting our attention to other people, which is what I call giving our power away to somebody else. This is what they should do, or all these things. I was talking to this other. I mean, I know the couple, but the woman is the one that reached out to me, and started with all the stories. They did all the stories, and the funny part is the other one is like, yeah, this man has been cheating me for a long time. The other time I wanted to surprise him and I showed up unannounced, and there was somebody the other time I wanted to surprise him, and I'm like, stop with the whole full of bullshit surprises. You knew, right? You knew what you're gonna find. You showed up unannounced because you don't trust him. So you knew what you're gonna find. She was expecting that. So she got what she was expecting. So I'm like, first thing, we got to be gut level honest here. So don't say I wanted to surprise myself like what you did was right, because you knew the kind of person that you're with. And then all the stories, I'm like, I'm not interested in the stories that much. What do you want? Because if you want to do the work, then I'm willing to work with you. But you got to call your power back to yourself. If at all your attention is still on the other person, he did, and you are not willing to look at yourself, then you don't have the solution. We're going to work together if you are part of the problem. That is you owning your part, owning your shit, taking full responsibility. Then you have the power to fix whatever that you want to fix. That's the beginning point. As long as you like, oh, they did, he did, she did, you don't have the power within you. And at times the power is still with our parents, where yes, they do not show up fully at the level that we deserved, but on the other hand, we chose them at a soul level, knowing who they are, knowing that shortfalls. There is a part of us that knew what we were going to get. And it's exactly the medicine, the codes that we needed to take us where we want to. Because probably if we were born in a family that gave us whatever that we didn't want. Because even when you're talking about forgiveness and all the stuff like that, it's kind of like you going through that. And speaking of forgiveness, actually, I may be a little bit out, but what is coming through is at times we even use the forgiveness and unconditional love as excuses for our people pleasing, approval seeking, codependency thing. Oh, I've forgiven, you know, and all the bullshit. But yet the whole truth is there is pain, there is a wound that needs to be addressed. This is why at times you'll be counting, he did this, he did this, she did this, she did, all these things. But then why are you fucking there? Why are you still dealing with this person if at all you have this history? Because even if I'm not saying if something has happened, it's hard for you to move beyond it, but you can move beyond it as long as you are facing it. And this is taking me back again. I'm sorry, I'm just gonna go with the flow because it still goes back to the patterns that we learned. I'm coming from a family that they're gonna beat me up when they hear this. But the truth of it is, there was this whole we are this loving family, and whatever shit that happens, you just put it under the rug, and it's just like, yeah, we are family, we love. But deep down, the heart, they're boiling. There's a lot of things that are happening, and when you coming from this kind of family, that's how you deal with things. You pretend that you are okay, but yet you are not okay. You don't speak and talk and get to the core of things, and you just move on. And it's one thing after the other. At some point, everything is gonna be, it's gonna smell. Because all this thing is rotten wherever that you're putting it, right? And you can't create life and thrive from this energy.
Yeah, my family is very similar where we would never really deal with problems. We'd have problems, they get pushed down, you forget about them, you move on and pretend like there's nothing wrong. And that's kind of the way I was brought up, and that's kind of what I've then brought to my relationships, and kind of, push the problems down, box them up, pretend they don't exist. But they do exist, and inevitably they come up and they cause bigger problems because they've not dealt with them at the time.
And they inform you, on the other hand, That is whatever that is there because it's not dealt with. And anyone that you meet, you are still, like you said, you're still addressing them from this history. Something is happening, da, 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 you open the history book. What is it that happened here? What does this mean? That's how you interpret things. But yet they're showing up on a different thing. Your lens is still blurred, you know. So it's very important that we deal with all these things that we've put under the carpet. And another thing as well that is like coming to mind is the truth that this is like a big one when it comes to relationships. Where's your focus when the relationship is ending? A lot of people either, let me say, you're in a relationship and things are not okay. People don't work on that stuff. If at all you feel like this is, I don't think this is going anywhere, which most of us we knew, you know, then there will be the whole thing of, but I still love this person, because we have this twisted thing, illusion that love is something that ends. So when we say I still love this person, we think love means us tolerating shit, you know. So we sit there and it's not like we are tolerating fully. It's kind of like I'm just gonna sit here because I love this person. I wanna turn him or her into a monster, you know. As long as I still see the beauty in this person, then it's hard for me to leave. I have to wait until, like, you creating a monster with all these things that you're compiling, whatever that is happening, until this person is a monster. Then you can take that monster, twist it, and push it into a cave. What you know, and we start calling them names and all that, because we do not have the capacity to face that I love this person and this person, and somehow we cannot be together. We have been conditioned that love means being together. If I can't be with you, I can't love you. And what people are doing is they are creating walls around their heart. They are shutting off exactly the love that they think they're gonna get from somebody else. Because when you take somebody and push and take them and put them in the keller, I don't know what is it called, storage room, or put them in the cave, you know, somewhere, and you think that you're gonna move on and then find this love and it's gonna be happily ever after. That's still aspect of yourself that are still stuck in that dark room that you put somebody else. Because when you fell in love with that person, you fell in love with yourself, and you fell out of love with aspects of yourself that you have not fully accepted.
Yeah, very rarely does a relationship finish and it's all one person's fault. It's often, you know, a compatibility issue. Like I say, you grow apart, or you know, I'm not saying one person hasn't done wrong or done something, but there'll also be parts of yourself that, you know, you've brought to the relationship, or maybe have hidden and not brought to the relationship, which, you know, will impact you if you don't accept who you are, you know. And sometimes just accepting who you are may have even fixed that relationship.
Oh yes. Oh yes. I've seen relationships that are okay, move from okay to orgasmic. I've seen sometimes it ends, sometimes not, but not all the time. Because if at all your parts are the ones that are at play, influencing your relationship to be the way it is, the moment you accept and see yourself, uh, things shift. It's quite interesting, like with the person that the couple that I spoke about, you know, because they were having all these things, but we did, I would say, just 2 sessions, like 2 weeks with this person, you know, and all of a sudden it's kind of like things have just shifted, and now she's like, you know, even if this doesn't work, but on the other hand, we're still parents and we have a child together, so we have this contract that we have here. It's going to be there for the rest of our lives. So one or the other, they still have to deal with each other as adults, you know, being that conscious. And she realized that she's not engaging at the level that she used to, you know, because now she's kind of like pulling her energy back, and she knows what she respond to, what to respond to or not. And another thing that I also want to take off people's shoulders, when I'm saying you are responsible for that, you are the problem or you are the solution, it's coming back to who you are is not only singularly you, for instance, me as how, or you as Aaron, or you as Martha, whoever that is. It's not you only, because you are connected to your ancestors. You're still part of the collective, right? So until you disconnect from that. You're still going to be informed by this. So you are part of that. When you are born into a family, this is why we have a name and a surname. And that surname has been existing for many generations. And there is a lot that transpired within that. There has been slavery, there has been sexual abuse, there have been, a lot of stuff, all darkness, all light, And the question is, what is it that you are identifying with? What is it that you are aligning with? What is it that you are agreeing to? Especially when people say, my ancestors are powerful, and somebody does something, you are angry. My ancestors are powerful. I'm gonna call my ancestors. Oh, be assured that you're gonna really call those people who still have some stuff to settle, who are coming in with vengeance, with revenge, because things did not go that way. So, what is your state of being, even when you're calling for that help, right? So we have all of that within our family. We are not coming from all pure light and love family. So our purpose is to illuminate the shadows. That is also the shadows that we have within us. Because we know that times when you're thinking like it's totally twisted, where you can even like, oh shit. So am I capable of that as well? Of course, yes, you are. It all depends on the situation that you find yourself in. This is where also when you're coming through with compassion to say, where are we showing up when we hear things about other people? Are we just quick to judge? Or we're gonna feel what is within us, especially with what is happening right now in the world when things are coming through. My go-to is I don't come from, all this thing is kind of like, what is it that I'm holding within that contributes to what is happening in the world? And then when you neutralize that, you take responsibility of your part. Because at times when you are triggered by something, it's not about what they did, it's how that is still within us, how I or my ancestors went through that. And when I see that, the imprints that my body has, my body remembers, and it brings in a lot of stuff. So if all of us can take care of our stuff, we're gonna like make the collective load much lighter.
Yeah, I think it's we're really bad as people in general at looking at those things, aren't we? At those negative things, because we like to pretend that they don't exist, and we like to live in this world where everything is great, or at least that's how we portray things to others. Everything is great, you know. I'm this person. I'm a nice person, and not look at actually that everybody has negative stuff. Everybody has baggage, be it ancestral or childhood trauma, or adult trauma. That we've all got baggage and issues and stuff, and we've all got a bit of darkness. We've all got, you know, nobody I've ever met is perfect, even if they pretend to
No.
be. So, and I think we need to be a bit more humble and vulnerable and look at that stuff and accept that stuff, because I think when we do start to look at it, accept it, and understand it, then we can start to grow as people.
Absolutely. I went through a lot, and one of the things that woke me up was when I was separated with my children from my children for 5 years. It was a big wound, especially that at the core, as women, we are esteemed by our children. And on the other hand, after having children, they make you fully come alive. It's kind of like they say that it's kind of like your heart is in somebody else. And we always say this: I will do anything for my children, I will kill for my children. You touch my children, you're gonna die at my hands, or I die first. So I saw that woman like really coming through. I wanted blood. I just wanted to know, how can I take these people out, but in this case it was like their father. But I remember my high self calling me out on this. So I was like, oh shit, what is it? The way you want to deal with this, that's not how you do it. That's not what you're here for, you know. And I felt caught. It's kind of like, oh shit. So how I think, what I think, and all that. But again, the healed version of me, when I looked at it, I was like, whew, I wouldn't want to take my children's father away from them. because it's about them. If I love them that much, I'll love them that much to help their father in their life. But the unhealed version of me, the one that was wounded, the one that felt like it's not safe, either these people are going to take me out or I have to, because that's just like fear that is like now consuming us and in control of everything. So I had to look at this beautiful dark woman who forgot that she's beautiful, who forgot that she has power within her. Because we do things when we are coming from fear, when we have forgotten who we are. So at times it's a matter of holding space for whoever that is and reminding them of who they are, even if you may not say it loud, but more holding that space. And I always say this when I say I help you to attract the love that honor your true value. That is the love that loves you even in your ugliest moment, because we don't always have the beautiful moments. And the question is, can you see your partner not being themselves and still find them attractive and love them, to remind them of the beauty that stays within them? Or even when we are parting, because I've been through a lot, like I said, a lot, going through a divorce here in a foreign country, continent. But on the other hand, despite all the hardships that I was going through, which was like the hard journey, was being in love and seeing the love in that person despite what they were doing to me. But the truth of it is, this whatever that they're showing is here, and the love that is there is still here. you know um I'm not saying, because here's a tricky thing with people. At times it's kind of like when you say connect to other people's love, they want to say, oh, but they're just beautiful people, they're loving people. But yet when they show up, they're showing up that whatever, as an animal, they've forgotten who they are. So it's kind of like, yes, honor what they're saying. When I say honor the love that is within somebody, and however that they may have shown up in that love before, it's more, there is a difference. You understand? It's more, I'm not saying tolerate and be a doormat for somebody else, of which, if you are not healed again, you won't know the difference, because the wound is louder. But there's a difference with knowing who somebody is in truth, and also accepting how they're showing up. Because if at all you confuse the two, which at times can be this la land for people in the spiritual path, where it's kind of like, oh, it's unconditional love, we are all love. Yes, we are all love, but if somebody's here to act as not love, then you get to understand that they're not acting as not love, so they don't deserve to be in your space. You can choose to love them from far, but it needs you to be held for you to hold that space.
Yeah, we do have to accept the reality as well, don't we? Sometimes that people are, what they may well be going through things themselves, or in no doubt they are having their own battles, but then how that makes them show up to other relationships can be really toxic and
Yeah,
detrimental to the other people. And it's okay to step away from that and say, no, that's not okay. You can still love them, and you can still be there for when they decide that they want to correct that behavior, and whatever the issues they have kind of dissipated, and they've kind of settled back more to be able to see the bigger picture. But we shouldn't have to tolerate it all the time, and there's understanding when you should step away and when you should stay. Really, I think it's quite a difficult one for people.
yeah. It is. Or even like, for instance, when I talk about the whole evolution, to say we are meant to evolve, at times the relationship may become stagnant and all that. And just because you are not evolving, or somehow something, something is missing. When something is missing, something is missing. And at times kind of like, but I don't know, I can't, which is like loving from guilt, pity. I can't, like, this is a nice person. They haven't done anything. What is it that makes us that someone has to do something for us to choose differently, or for us to earn things? It's still like one of those creation where, instead of creating, being inspired, we want to wait until we desperate. And I've seen a lot of people who, even like, the marriage is not working, they are continuously cheating on their partner. Why? Because they are not, like, whatever that brought them together. At times, I'm gonna give an example with this. At times you meet somebody because of your beliefs. I know, like, there are people who met their partner because they met in a church or something like that, for an example, or maybe you met at a bar and then you outgrow the bar or you outgrow the church, doesn't matter which one is, but then you realize that I was attracted to this person because of the person that I was or whatever that I believed in at that time, but now I'm a different person. That person is still that person. That means you are on two different paths. And then it's kind of like, but they're nice people, what can I do? And then instead of like talking about this and explaining what is happening, you just decide to continue either cheating and all that until somebody does something. And I know men do a lot of these things, and like they know they want out, but they're not gonna say it. They'll just show by the action that, okay, fine, until you do something, then we'll go ahead and do whatever that you want. But I don't want, it's kind of like, I don't want to be blamed. They don't want to take responsibility. I don't want to be blamed for this. If it comes through saying that, okay, if she comes through saying she's divorcing or something like that, I'm fine with it, but I'm not going to do that. I don't want to be a bad person. But on the other hand, you are hurting somebody and you are also blocking the chance of really attracting the love that they deserve, because you can't give them what you know they deserve. And for me, that's like really truly loving.
Yeah, you are right with that. That does happen a lot, I think, and it's probably cowardly, really, to do
It
it that
is.
way. But equally, I think it's difficult when you grow apart rather than kind of have that constant clash. Because I think if you because if you clash, it's almost easier, isn't it? Because it's almost like we're not getting on. We're not and it's easier to leave then, isn't it? I suppose. But when you just grow apart and you're both relatively content with life, I suppose it's quite difficult then to separate, especially if there's children involved and everything else, I suppose.
Yeah, I mean, it's okay, and this is the thing, that it can be okay, that okay, yeah, we don't have like a problem really, but we it's kind of like brother and sister kind of love, and we're raising children together. Like when I'm speaking about it, does that give life? It doesn't. So eventually, your work, your business, everything, it just dies off, because it's like, man, yeah, what can I do? Sometimes you have to make compromises. And does that feed you? Does that light you up? And what is it that you are communicating, even to your children? And I feel like, in truth, when you just grow apart and you can come together and be honest, because people are not honest, that's the thing, and be honest and talk about it. What is it that I desire for you? I desire for me to be with somebody that I connect with, to be in a relationship where I'm alive, we can create together, we can inspire each other and all that. And somehow we have reached the stage where we've just grown apart. And I desire that for you, because what you desire for you, you desire for the other person. Like, that's the honest truth. And if you're not fighting, it's even better, because you work together through everything. How can we best support each other to make this separation even more, you know easy? And also, even for the children, you bring the children in and all that. We don't have to always wait until we hit rock bottom. This is why, even when I'm looking at it at change management, because I'm certified change management as well. Even when we look at it in the companies, organizations that are meant to grow, like they're popped and everything is like flowing, and then from this, kind of like, yeah, we're good. They're just okay with that. They're not doing anything to evolve, because whatever that you do not nurture, eventually it dies. So if you don't do anything, this is why companies end up going bankrupt, because by the time they wake up and realize that, oh my god, we are not at the top as we used to be, other companies have taken over, and eventually they start struggling with the resources. They don't have the resources to support their business and all that. And with a human level, it also happens that when things are just okay, we don't even do anything we don't invest in ourselves to grow. And then we wait until things really get bad, whether you're going through a divorce and all that. And by then, things are really bad. The finances of also, you know, nothing is really working. And that's when we're trying to do something. But when things are at that level, either you talk about it, and what is it that need to be worked on, if at all you need to work on something. Like for me, I would say that would be the first step. And even when it comes, I love couples counseling, but I also I'm a big fan of individual, because when you are working on an individual level, here's the thing why I'm a big advocate for working on yourself on an individual basis, is because people often do not know who they are. They just rush to get into relationship without knowing who they are. So at times when you're trying to do couples counseling, what the fuck are you doing? You don't even know who you are. You've lost your freedom of individuality in that, because people are good at measuring and being what somebody wants so that they can, I don't know, they think that it's going to sustain the relationship, but it doesn't. Because as humans, we also love the challenges. Kind of like there is something that, be a mystery. I want to get to know you. I want to be excited and curious about you for the rest of my life. I want to see all parts of you. But if at all you becoming this yes kind of woman, or yes ma'am kind of man, and or whatever that you want, and people forget the things that they love, the little things and all that, eventually it dies. But when I'm curious about you, I get to know you, because you are still evolving. You get to know you. So you bringing me on board. We are all excited about each other. We are all a mystery to each other. So when you just comfortable, kind of like, oh, I know whatever that she eats and all that. But what I realize is that the moment people part, it's kind of like, whew, there's my music, there's my food, there's my whatever. But where the fuck have you been all along? So working on yourself, it helps you to know who you are, your true values, because you have to first disconnect from your whole ancestral stuff. You come back to yourself. But now imagine you don't know who you are carrying all this stuff that you're born in, and then you meet your partner and whatever that partner is bringing. And if at all you are a people pleaser, or you want to belong, you still abandon yourself to make this thing work. Eventually, there's nothing exciting about you, nothing to say about you, nothing to make me curious about you.
Yeah, that mystery is quite, it's quite the thing, isn't it? To try and keep alive in relationships. And I think that's the thing that goes quite quickly, and we kind of force it to go because we want, there's a balance to it, right? We want a bit of mystery, but we also want to feel safe, and we push and push and push to make everything feel safe. And what that does is removes all the mystery, and we don't allow any kind of space for it, any kind of balance.
I love when you say to give space, because I'm big on sensuality and sexuality, and when you're talking about this energy, it loves the space. It's like the fire. When you close the fire in, it dies. So it needs space for that spark to be ignited. And it's something that we often don't respect in a relationship, especially if people are coming through with their own insecurities.
Absolutely, we definitely force that safety and security to the point where it kind of does shut everything down. Um, and you're definitely right. It's from a place of insecurity rather than from from anything else. Because the only reason to keep forcing that safety and security is because we feel insecure, because we're afraid of allowing that space for that mystery and for that person to be free, really, to live life on their terms.
Yes. And one thing that I say, and this is true and it will continue to be true, is that insecurity is unattractive. Often people who are insecure, they are more worried that, oh, maybe she'll start find dating or cheating on me, or he'll start cheating on me, or whatever. But it's not about the third person. Insecurity is unattractive, and insecurity will push your partner away faster than the other person coming through. And another thing with insecurity, even if you are maybe the other person, here's the tricky thing, is that a man who is not fully embodying his sacred masculine, who is not confident in who he is, who hasn't healed, they want somebody, they'll end up with somebody that they don't fully love, but they want somebody who's gonna cater to their ego, right? Because somebody who knows who they are, who challenges them, it's kind of like they don't feel safe. They feel a bit insecure. But because if your main thing is the ego, you're gonna find someone who's gonna be like praising you and all that. But eventually, it dies out. But on the other hand, even if you wanna feed your ego, probably you want to feed your ego, but you still want to grow, whether it's just like success, I want to have more money, whatever that is, whatever success means to you, you know because at times, even a marriage, being married can still be success in the society. You want to gain respect in the society. Oh, he's married or whatever, even if it's not your thing. It's more like about the status more than anything. So if at all you want to make money, you want to grow, you've got this business ideas, whatever ideas that you have, when you are with somebody who is insecure, because when you're talking about support, it's not about somebody bringing money or anything. I hear there's a lot. What are you bringing to the table? Bullshit. There is a lot that somebody can bring to the table by just holding that space for you. There is something magical about somebody who believes in you, that currency, that energy, somebody who, when you have an idea, they don't only tell you that this is going to work out, but there is something within them, that energy, that creation, where they want you to make it by all means, because this is your lover. And even when you're making love, they're still holding the space of you winning. It's different from when, yeah, I love you and I love you, everything that you bring and all that, but a part of me is like, but if they're really successful, are they gonna be with me or they're gonna find somebody who is better? So you come through with an idea like, this is what I want to create, baby, and I'm like, yeah, that sounds good and all that. I'm like happy for you, but deep down I'm just like, if he gets rich or anything, now he's gonna look for somebody who is better. We're gonna be making love and all that. What energy do you think I'm infusing in you? What do you think we're creating here? There is a conflict that is happening at a deeper level. Do you think you're gonna go and get what you want? I'm confused. I don't want that for you because I don't want to lose you. Of course, I love it when you bring man. I love it when you are mine. I want you to have that as long as you are with me, but I don't have any guarantee. So my energy right now is kind of like, I don't want you to go as far as you desire. So there is a lot when it comes to what are you bringing to the table. There is a lot than just the physical stuff, because the physical stuff is the result of the energetic creation that happens behind what we think we doing or what we see.
Yeah, that's I like that a lot. I definitely have experienced that myself. And it's the energy. So people can say the right things and support you, but you can feel that energy when it's not quite there, or when people are a bit, actually they're not really want me to win. They're just saying what they think I want to hear without actually having that true love and support. You can feel it straight away, and you can feel the difference when somebody genuinely supports you and wants you to do well, irrespective of what that means for them. Regardless of the impact that might have on them. That energy is so different.
Yeah, I have a couple who, I mean, I was working with the wife, but I mean, the woman, everything was just okay, but the woman went through some trials and tribulations, lots of losses and all that. So when she started coming to me, she was like completely disconnected in the sense of whatever that she was going through. And we started working together. And what she said is, my husband is really excited now because like everything went down as like that finances business, because her energy was not how it used to be, and when we started working together, she said when the husband was having meetings or having a presentation or something like that, before he gets on stage, he'll call the wife and say, I'm getting in now. And wherever that she is, she's holding space for that. And while we're doing the work together, he also started getting like offers, like nothing that he was looking for. People were just coming through and all of that. And that's the magic of having a partner who holds and anchors that space of expansion, who's your biggest cheerleader and all that. And I think it's something that should go both ways, where you because it's like that divine feminine and divine masculine coming together, where the other one feels safe because they know that you bring in all that needs to be brought in, all the ideas and all the compassion, empathy, and all the magic of creation and all that. And the masculine is coming through, bringing in, holding that space, the structure of where that is going to come through. So there is that feeling safe just because your partner is supporting you, even if they are not there, they energetically holding that space of, go for it, baby, I've got you, and your partner doing the same thing. So it's still creation at a deeper level, and it's magical when that happens, rather than when you are with somebody who's like, I had a partner who was like that. One of the first and best corporate offers that I got, he just told me that, oh, you've been moving a lot, changing jobs. I don't think this is good. I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? This is like offering me double plus my current salary. These are the opportunities of me. And that guy was sick. Like, I just because I'm stubborn and I'm grateful for my stubbornness, because I went ahead and did what I wanted, not like, oh, okay, fine, baby, I get you. I was like, fuck it. I'm gonna go with this. Whatever that's gonna happen in the future, I'll deal with that. And that guy was sick. And the next thing, he quit his job. And like without even notice or anything. Like that's how desperate he was to say it's kind of like we're in a competition that I was not even aware of. Right. So sometimes you get to be careful because it can be your spouse, it can be your partner, it can be your family, it can be anybody. So you get to be present enough to know who is really your best cheerleader. And speaking about freedom, which is what I spoke about, to say the level that you are free is the level that you are joyful and fully living. It still takes us to that. You know the people that you are not fully free with to share your deepest dark secrets. And the truth of it is, even when it comes to celebration, they can't celebrate you at the level that you desire and deserve.
Yeah, that's very true. I think and you just feel it. You could just feel it when it's just not right, can't you? I don't know what it is. I can't put my finger on the exact stuff, but and a lot of the time they'll say all the right stuff. A lot of the time they won't even, challenge. They'll say congratulations, well done, or they'll say, oh, I want the best for you. I want you to do this. They'll say all that stuff, but you can just there's just something just doesn't sit right.
I love I love that what you said, that they will say the right stuff, but you will know that it doesn't feel right. And why do people often say, I don't know how I missed the red flags? That's what people say. Why? Because you are stuck in your mind. And when you are in the mind, it's easy for somebody to manipulate you. I'm going to tell you what sounds good. Because you're in the mind, I can get you in the mind. I can get in your mind and control you by telling you something that sounds good. But if you are connected enough, your gut will tell you that that sounds so flipping good, but it doesn't feel good. It's not only in romantic relationship, it can be even business deal. Somebody's coming through telling you all the money that you're gonna make and all that. And if you are just like in the mind, it's kind of like, oh yeah, let's do it, let's do it. You're gonna pay more than whatever that you're gonna invest in that. But if you are present enough, this is why I love being fully connected, embodied, because you can tell there is a difference. It's kind of like you are basically operating from your intuition, your sixth sense, and you can tell when somebody is saying something. It's kind of like, yeah, I hear you, but give me some time, or just tell them rightly, yeah, it sounds good, but I'm not in it. It's not for me. I'll pass that one.
Yeah, it's a powerful thing, intuition.
Yeah,
I'm very big on it, and
absolutely.
I trust my intuition a lot more than I trust words, really, and other stuff.
I love that. Because 7% of the words when it comes to communication is what is effective, and 30% is tonality, and 55% is nonverbal, and that goes to the intuition, that goes to the energy. That's why I'm saying make your energy work for you, not against you.
Absolutely. Um, what's one question you wish more people ask themselves, especially if they're feeling lost or disconnected from that person?
Hmm. Oh, that's a. I mean, it works in either way, but the truth is, who do I choose to become? Who do I choose to become? I still remember when I was going through my own. It was marriage issues because we're a bit separated, but the divorce has not come through. But a part of me and a lot of ancestral voices were very loud, where a part of me was like, yeah, maybe I can just compromise, maybe I can, whatever. But when it comes back to who do I choose to become, that was a big one because I had to look at, okay, this is the marriage that 70% according to the society and everything is 70% we're doing well. But there is the 30%, which is who am I? At a soul level, I'm here for a purpose. There is a calling that I know that without it, there is no point for me to be here on earth. But if I give that up to sustain this marriage, um, I'm dead, and you can be alive just like existing but not be fully alive. And that was going to be me. So I had to choose who I am choosing to become to sustain the marriage by abandoning myself or by loving my marriage enough and my partner enough to let them go so that they can find somebody who is in alignment with whatever beliefs and who they are being, you know. So who do I choose to become is a huge question in every situation. At times it can be in an argument, you know. You are arguing and all that, and then you ask yourself, what am I doing? What am I doing? Where is this thing going? You know, you are arguing and all that. Is that like the goal of your relationship? Is that why you came together? Are you a life giver or a life taker? Ooh.
Yeah, I think abandoning yourself is such a powerful thing if you think of it in that sense. I don't think, I think if anybody thought of it that way, then I think that they'll choose themselves and choose the right thing, really, because you to abandon yourself and spend the rest of your life living a life you don't want to live, or living in a way you don't want to live, or you're not, that doesn't make you happy. And like, I'm not talking outwardly happy, because you can have happy moments and that's fine, but I mean on the inside, that peace, that calm that you get on the inside, to live without that for 20, 30 years, with when life is so short, it's awful, right?
High price. It's a high price at the end because you're gonna be the one who's gonna be with you and looking at the choices you made and looking at where you at. Was it worth it? Because even now you can still look back into, you know, whether it's 30 years, 40 years, 50, whatever old you are, is it worth it to have made choices that you made, you know, at the expense of you being you, you know, because we want to know who you are.
Yeah,
But
living a
for
life of
us or people to know who you are, first thing you get to face yourself, to have a name and an identity.
absolutely, and that's where a lot of us struggle, where a lot of us don't do that work, or don't spend that time to look in and find out who we are, and end up living a life of regret.
Because there is a price to pay. You know, you either pay the price to be you and live a joyful, fulfilling life, or you pay the price towards regret and guilt.
Yeah, and the only difference is when we choose to pay that. So there's always a price when we choose to pay it. If we choose to pay it now, we can live and enjoy life. Or if we hold, we'll pay the price later on, and we'll just be left with regret and haven't lived a life that we're happy with. So I'm gonna bring us to a close here, Gal. Um, what what last final thoughts would you like to share with people?
Take action. Information is not transformation. You know what's going on in your life. Like I said, are you fully free to be yourself? Are you fully free to share and also allow your soul to express through you? Are you joyful? You know, because if you are not joyful, if you're not free, you're not fully loving. I don't care what you tell yourself. People have this thing of, oh, but I just love too much and all that. You can't love too much if you don't love yourself. So that's all I can say. Take action and stop just being stuck in or in consuming information and all that, because if all information was enough for your life to change, it would have. But if it has not changed, that's the universe that is showing you what is happening.
That's incredible. Where can people find you online?
Yeah. There's a link that I'm going to share with you. So if at all you are really committed to your growth, book a call and let's see what is stopping you from your success, from your emotional independence and spiritual connection, so that you can attract the love that you truly deserve, because those things are really valuable and needed, vital when it comes to a relationship. And book a call if you interested in the programs. If you not, then go to my website, howmutsime.com. I've opened this. I don't offer once-off sessions, but I've decided to offer this for people who have not worked with me. Maybe you're just curious, but at the same time, there is something that is pressing you. You know, I'm offering once-off sessions, so you can find that at howmutsime.com. Like I said, I don't offer them and I don't know how long I'm gonna keep this open. I'm doing this at the same time for me because stepping into people's auric fields is dangerous. People are going around with negative entities attached. There's a lot of shit going on in people's bodies that they're not aware of. So when I just due to the nature of my work, when I step in there and I'm like, okay, fine, you carrying this, you carrying this, you carrying this, and you're like, okay, thank you. What the fuck am I gonna do with the shit that I'm holding? You understand? So it's kind of like give it all, the shit you've got a pain that the doctors can't really tell what is going on. Whatever that you're dealing with, there is a problem that keeps on happening. Where maybe dealing with cases and all that. Just go book that once off session, then you'll decide after. But if you're like, how? But I want to commit. I want to find more about the programs that you offer. Then book a call. I think that makes it easier for both of us. You know.
Absolutely. It's always better to connect on a personal level and have them conversations.
Yeah.
I'll I'll make sure the link goes in the show notes so it's easy for people to find and to connect with you. Honestly, it's been amazing having you on the show. I've loved every second of it. So thank you so much.
Thanks for having me.
It's
Wishing you
been my
all a
pleasure.
wonderful, magical, and orgasmic day, week, night, morning, wherever you're watching this from.
Thank you. Take care.
Bye bye.